I was just asked so much about. I have an answer for being a woman my age in the industry, and I just didn't know. I didn't know the answer. I was getting really frustrated.
I love the message it sends to all ages.
So you kind of have to just focus on yourself and not try to pay attention to the global purpose of younger is the way.
Kylie Minogue and Anastacia, both born in 1968, both had huge success in Europe and Australia, both battled breast cancer, and both released an album on the 22nd of September 2023. However, the difference in these two albums is a tale of two divas and varying degrees of success. It's also an insight into both the shadowy ageism of the corporate music industry and the possible resolution through social media. Hi, I'm Diva Talk, and today we're taking a deep dive into the pop sphere by comparing the careers of two very different but talented pop stars. When Padam Padam entered the top 10 of the UK charts, fans weren't surprised due to Kylie's pop culture absence. On the contrary, Kylie had maintained a successful touring career and had earned 2 #1 albums with Golden and Disco, becoming the only woman in the UK to have a #1 album in 5 consecutive decades. Her impact in the music world was still legitimate, however, her role in the singles chart had all but diminished. Her last top 10 hit was 13 years prior, in 2010 with All the Lovers. In subsequent years, BBC Radio 1 had publicly declared that artists of Kylie's era, that's code word for age, did not align with the target audience of BBC Radio 1. Pop, the genre Kylie dominates, is all about the fairy tale of perfection, the fantasy of being somewhere over the rainbow, somewhere only youth resides. The idea of an older pop act almost feels like an unwanted disease, a smashing of the innate escapism pop grants. Radio has traditionally and emphatically supported this dismissal of older pop acts. Gatekeeping was both promoted and enforced, and as a result, Kylie's new singles would not get airplay. Not based on merit, but simply because she was viewed as being too old to become a hit maker. Barely concealed ageism was controlling the charts, and it would take a revolutionary new media platform to offset this unhealthy youth favoritism.
Padam is talking to the kids and the long-time fans and new listeners.
If we take a step back to the glory days of European noughties pop, Anastacia was a unique but dominating force. Her leather-lunged tone was distinctive, her eyewear was eye-catching, and she seemed to be in direct opposition to the trend of sickly, emaciated bodies that became the beauty standard of the time. She became the world's best-selling new female pop star in 2001, her debut album going 4 times platinum in Europe, driven by the global smash I'm Out of Love, the biggest selling song of the year in Australia and New Zealand.
I'm Out of Love was a pure kind of dance record, and it's one of the greatest dance records of all time.
Success continued with her next 3 albums, Freak of Nature, Anastacia and Pieces of a Dream, which all included anthemic bops such as Left Outside Alone, Paid My Dues, One Day in Your Life, Sick and Tired and I Belong to You. In many European territories such as Germany and Italy, she was one of the top 3 selling female singers of the decade, and with the best-selling European solo tour of 2004, her success curve seemed endless. However, things quickly descended into a crashing mess. Anastacia prematurely left her record label Sony before her contract ended to follow her A&R guy David Massey, who originally signed her. Out of loyalty, when he moved to Mercury Records, so did she. The new label had a new image for Anastacia. Gone were the glasses and the leather, her long blonde hair replaced by a short barrel curl. Negotiations took a year, and in 2008 her 4th album was released, which would permanently impact her mainstream career. Heavy Rotation moved away from her signature sound she successfully recorded and toured with. For the first time in her career, she had no writing credit on the lead single. Instead, Neo wrote the underwhelming I Can Feel You, arguably one of the worst comeback songs in pop history. The album felt like an inauthentic attempt at finally launching Anastacia into the US, a territory much like Kylie that never saw much success for her. Fans who adored Anastacia for championing the underdog and staying true to herself felt like the singer had gone against the ideals of her career. Her personality and signature sound had been ironed out into a generic R&B mess. The project sank like a lead balloon. her first 3 albums all went triple platinum in the UK. This barely cracked the top 20 for a while. She soon parted ways with the label and would not release another album of original material until 2014, this time however as an independent artist with BMG. And although her next record was a critical success and reincorporated much of the sound and imagery of her early works, without a large budget to publicise her work, promo was inconsistent and muddled. The album did manage to crack the top 10 in the UK and Germany, but quickly fell off and was forgotten. Now, if you want a more detailed analysis of what happened to Anastasia's career, you can find a full video on my channel. But in summary, the next decade or so of Anastacia would see a number of reality shows, excessive touring, one rather poorly produced album with little to no promo. Her career was swiftly fizzling out.
Do you ever consider quitting as an artist?
Yes, I did consider. I didn't know if I could take the pressure, and I didn't know if I could do it all, or, I was asking myself a lot of what if questions.
Until the German producer had a slightly cynical but potentially lucrative idea. Meanwhile for Kylie, in the summer of 2023, the beginning of a new resurgence began to gingerly bubble from under the surface. Padam's video, A Saturation of Red, was eye-catching. The combination of mundane locations sharing an almost otherworldly interaction was an interesting visual. The song, released on the eve of Pride Month, was no accident, playing into Kylie's legacy of a beloved gay icon. Just as Pride parties were generating large social gatherings that would require new camp anthems. However, its ultimate ignition into pop culture came not from long-time gay fans, but a surprising cohort of new young listeners.
Of its own accord.
Yeah.
I'm having the time of my life. Every day friends are texting going, check this one, or the memes and the TikToks.
Nicole Kidman posted.
She did.
Yeah.
Its simple but unique lyrics were incredibly relatable to a wide variety of situations, meaning endless scenarios were filmed using the chorus. And the club energy and choreography of the music video created a dance trend. And when you combine these two phenomena, you create a huge viral hit.
The song has racked up, get this, more than 30 million views on TikTok,
which translates into streams and therefore a chart comeback. Padam eventually landed at number 8 on the UK singles chart. Speaking to The Guardian, chart analyst James Patterson said that what really makes the success of Padam significant is that it's genuinely her first hit single of the streaming era, her first since paid purchases ceased to be a mass market product, and as a result, she's bridged the gap between her loyal and, let's be honest, aging fan base and a new generation of music listeners. The advent of social media, but in particular TikTok, has fundamentally altered the system. I believe just as we look back at the revolutionary change of MTV in the 80s with music videos, TikTok's impact of the 2020s will be viewed as significant. Over 60% of Gen Z use it. The app has over 1 billion monthly active users worldwide. Radio has lost its throne as the maker of hits. As social media, with its global reach, creates viral sensations overnight, allowing songs to sidestep traditional media, often ageist media. MRC data found that 67% of users are more likely to seek out a song after hearing it on TikTok. YouTube Shorts, as a result, have been pushed massively by executives to follow this trend. The impact of TikTok can be seen when we look at songs like It's a Rap, an obscure album track recorded by Mariah Carey in 2009. In 2023, due to a viral TikTok dance with the song, streams of this track increased by 1,000% and it re-entered the charts. Lady Gaga's 2010 obscure track Bloody Mary found similar success after a viral TikTok dance connected it to the new Wednesday Addams show in 2022.
Literally be seen as Anastacia the singer again it's a big deal.
During the build-up to Padam, Anastacia finally released her next lead single, Best Days. The album was a collection of cover songs translated into English, a somewhat cheap marketing tactic to drum up sales for Anastacia in a territory that was historically quite successful. Best Days, although a legitimately great feel-good anthem reminiscent of Take That's Greatest Day, and with a summary video, was released in April of 2023, and yet received absolutely no promotion anywhere. 2 more singles were released. Both received no promotion, and only one received a video, if that's what you could call that amateur no-budget iPhone mess. The album was originally described as a project interested in introducing German songs to a wider public.
To search for songs so that I understood it and I could bring it to other places.
However, the album was only physically released in Germany, only received promotion in Germany a week before its release, and so it became quickly apparent that this was a niche, novelty album not intended for worldwide exposure. Nevertheless, in spite of its train wreck development, it debuted at number 2 in Germany, her highest charting album in 19 years on that chart, a feat that seemed impossible only months prior, and ultimately, it became a solid stepping stone to help fund an album of original material at a later point. It went on to peak at number 5 in the Austrian charts and number 8 in the Swiss. Nevertheless, the victory felt bittersweet as Anastacia was forced into karaoke territory to restore chart success. Reviews were mixed. Renowned for Sound stated that Anastacia's voice is as powerful as ever, while Retropop made the point that although Anastacia is still at the top of her vocal game, it's a shame that she didn't bounce back with new material that captures the magic of her golden era to reintroduce one of pop's finest voices to a new generation. On the other hand, Kylie was effectively able to outsell the top 20 albums combined and peak at number 1 in the UK with an album of delicious, diverse and creative new pop material. AllMusic described Tension as a masterclass in pop wizardry and escapist bliss, with many critics viewing it as one of Kylie's greatest albums in terms of production, melody and overall quality.
Sam's given me so much.
Although the same age, the careers of these two singers reveals not a gap but a chasm. On one hand, you have an Australian queen swimming against the current of ageism successfully through the phenomenon of TikTok, while on the other hand, you have a soulful diva shackled now to torch songs while still capable of so much more. Kylie has proven her adaptability to defy an industry that typically silences women over 40. But what about Anastacia? She still has untapped potential and should not be underestimated. With the right team behind her, could we see, if not a commercial comeback, at least a creative one? But what do you think about the careers of Anastacia and Kylie Minogue? And thanks for watching. I'm Diva Talk.